My legs are failing. Each stride tears something deeper inside me, muscle and sinew screaming protests. My mind no longer hears clearly. The road to Athens stretches ahead through olive groves that blur and double in my vision. Dust rising from my bare feet in small clouds that hang in the still afternoon air. I taste blood, not the copper tang of battle wounds, but something from within, from lungs pushed past what any man should endure. My name is Pheidippides, Hemerodromos of Athens, day runner, and I know with absolute certainty that this road will kill me. But Athens must know. The city must know before those Persian sails round Cape Sunion, before panic empties our streets and opens our gates to the enemy fleet that even now races us across the water. I have perhaps 2 hours of life remaining in this body. I will spend every moment of it running. The pain was not always this consuming. 7 days ago, I stood before the Athenian assembly in the Agora, a professional runner accustomed to covering great distances with messages of trade and diplomacy. My legs strong, my breathing steady. The archons' faces were grave as they spoke. The Persians had landed. Not rumor, not the fevered imaginings of frightened farmers, but confirmed sighting. Hundreds of ships beaching at Marathon, that crescent of sand 26 miles northeast. Eretria had fallen just days before, the city that had stood with us when we burned Sardis a decade past, now smoking ruins. The great King Darius remembered every slight, every insult to Persian pride, and his fleet had come to collect the debt in Athenian blood. The strategoi debated through the night. Send for Sparta, they agreed, our only hope against the multitude disembarking on Marathon's shore. But how to reach them quickly? The Spartans observed the Carnea festival, sacred to Apollo Carneos, and would not march until the moon was full. Still, we had to ask, had to plead for Hellenic brotherhood to overcome ritual. Someone had to run the 240 kilometers, through mountains and across parched plains in the brutal late summer heat. Someone had to reach Sparta before the Persians finished landing their cavalry and infantry, before they began the march on our walls. Every eye turned to me. I bowed my acceptance. What else could I do? I am Hemerodromos. This is what I was born and trained for, what I have done since I could first run the full circuit of the city walls without stopping. My father was a runner before me. My grandfather carried messages for Pisistratus the tyrant. Speed and endurance flow in my blood like the sacred waters of Ilissos flow through Athenian soil. I left before dawn, taking only a small leather pouch of dried figs, a water skin, and a short knife for bandits who might not respect a runner's neutrality. The city gates creaked open, and I set my pace. Not the sprint of a short-distance courier, but the steady, ground-eating lope that I could maintain from sunrise to sunset, if the gods willed it. My bare feet knew every stone of the road south and west toward the isthmus. I had run this route a dozen times, carrying messages to Corinth, to Mycenae, once even to Olympia during the games. But never with such urgency, never knowing that my city's survival depended on the speed of my legs. The first day was heat and rhythm, the sun climbing to beat down on my head as I passed through the Gerania Mountains, those barren heights where only scrub and thorn grow among white limestone. Cicadas screamed in the afternoon stillness. My shadow shortened, then lengthened again as I descended toward Megara, then the isthmus, where the two seas nearly meet, and the land narrows to a few stades across. Travelers on the road moved aside, recognizing the Hemerodromos by my runner's build and the steady pace that never varied. Some called out asking for news. I had no breath to answer, only raised a hand in acknowledgement and ran on. By nightfall, I had covered 90 kilometers, my legs burning but still strong, and I allowed myself to stop at a small shrine to Hermes, god of travelers and messengers, to pour a libation of water and rest for a few hours. I dared not sleep long. Every hour might matter. The Persians would not wait for our convenience. The second day brought the true test. The easy coastal plains gave way to the interior mountains of the Peloponnese, steep climbs on paths that wound through oak forests where wild pigs rooted and eagles circled overhead. My water ran low. I refilled at a spring sacred to Artemis, the cold water shocking my throat as I gulped it down, then pushed on into country that grew wilder with each passing hour. The path here was less certain, goat tracks threading between boulders, and I had to watch my footing carefully. A turned ankle would doom Athens as surely as Persian spears. It was in a high mountain pass, with the sun lowering toward evening and long shadows reaching across the rocks, that I saw him, or it. The figure stood on a boulder above the path, man-shaped but wrong, the proportions not quite human. Goat legs beneath a muscled torso, curling horns rising from a bearded face that watched me with eyes too knowing, too ancient. My heart, already racing from exertion, seemed to stop entirely. Pan, the wild god, the one who sends panic into the hearts of armies, who haunts lonely places and drives men mad with fear. Every hair on my body stood erect. I should have run, should have fled screaming as men do when the god appears. But my legs, stubborn with exhaustion, simply stopped, and I stood gasping, meeting that impossible gaze. When Pan spoke, his voice was the wind through pine branches, the bleat of goats in high pastures. Something not quite words, but meaning that poured directly into my mind. Why do the Athenians not honor me? I am well disposed toward them. I have helped them before and will again. Tell them. Then he was gone, the boulder empty, evening shadows undisturbed. Had I imagined it? Heat sickness, exhaustion dreams. But the memory remained crystal sharp, not fuzzy like fever visions I had experienced on other hard runs. The wild god had spoken. I would tell Athens, if I survived to tell anyone anything. The encounter drove me faster, fear and awe, mixing with duty to push my failing body down the far side of the mountains as darkness fell. I ran through the night by starlight, following the road by touch and memory as much as sight. And when dawn broke, I was descending the final slopes into the Eurotas Valley, where Sparta sat in her agricultural plain, surrounded by the Helot villages that fed her warrior citizens. I staggered into the city at midday of the second day, having covered 240 kilometers in just over a day and a half, my feet bleeding, my throat raw with dust and thirst. The Spartans received me in their austere way, the ephors listening stone-faced as I gasped out Athens' plea. All around us the Carnea festival continued, flutes playing ceremonial songs, young men dancing in ritual armor, the whole city given over to sacred observance. We cannot march, the eldest ephor said, his voice flat, without apology. Not until the moon is full. It is the law of the gods. We will not profane the Carnea. I wanted to scream at them, to rage that Athens was dying, that the Persians would not wait for their moon to round itself in the sky. But I had no breath for screaming, and these were Spartans. Argument would accomplish nothing. They were bound by their own rigid piety, as surely as I was bound by duty. To carry their answer back, they gave me food, water, a place to rest for a few hours. I took it gratefully, knowing I would need every scrap of strength for the return journey. By evening I was running north again, retracing my steps with the crushing knowledge that Athens would face the Persians alone, at least until the Lacedaemonians finished their religious obligations. The return journey was agony. My body, which had performed the superhuman feat of reaching Sparta in record time, now demanded payment for that abuse. Every muscle ached. Blisters on my feet had broken and bled, then broken again. I bound them with strips torn from my tunic and ran on, my pace slower now but still steady, driven by the desperate need to bring word to the Strategoi. They had to know Sparta would not come in time. They had to prepare for battle without the greatest warriors in Hellas at their backs. I reached Athens on the 4th day after my departure, having run nearly 500 kilometers total, and collapsed in the agora before the council, gasping out Sparta's refusal and Pan's strange message. The archons took the god's words seriously. We Athenians are pious people, and we remembered that Pan could turn battles with the terror he inspired. They vowed to build him a shrine, to honor him with sacrifices. But first, we had to survive. The army was already marching. 10,000 Athenian hoplites and 1,000 Plataeans, our only allies who had answered the call, were tramping northeast toward Marathon to block the Persians from the road to Athens. I should have rested. Any sane man would have collapsed into bed for days of recovery. But when they called for volunteers to join the ranks, when they announced that every able-bodied citizen was needed to face the vast host that had landed on our shores, I found myself strapping on the armor I kept for this duty. I was no great warrior. My skill was in my legs, not my spear arm, but I could hold a place in the phalanx, could lock my shield with my brothers and face the enemy line. And something in me needed to see this through, to witness whether my desperate run to Sparta had been in vain, whether Athens would stand or fall against the might of Persia. We marched through the night and reached Marathon Plain by dawn of the 5th day since I had left for Sparta, my legs moving now from pure stubbornness, my body running on fumes and will alone. What I saw there chilled my blood despite the rising sun's heat. The Persian camp stretched along the shore like a second city, hundreds of ships drawn up on the sand, their bronze rams glinting, their hulls painted in bright colors that seemed garish and wrong to eyes accustomed to Greek simplicity. Smoke rose from countless cooking fires. The army that had disembarked was beyond counting. 20,000, 30,000, perhaps more. They moved in organized masses, infantry in colorful tunics and leather armor, cavalry on small swift horses, archers with their curved bows that could shoot farther than any Greek javelin. Among them walked the Median commanders in their flowing robes, and somewhere in that multitude was Hippias, our own exiled tyrant, who had guided the Persians to this very beach in hopes of restoration to power, the traitor who would sell Athens to the great king for his own ambition. Our own force was pitiful by comparison, 10,000 Athenians and the brave 1,000 from Plataea, arrayed on the slopes above the plain, blocking the roads south. But we had advantages the Persians did not. We knew this ground. We had our heavy bronze armor and our long spears and our shields that could interlock into an impenetrable wall. And we had Miltiades, the strategos, who had fought the Persians before in Thrace, who understood their tactics and their weaknesses. For 5 days we watched each other across that plain, neither side willing to commit to the attack. The Persians seemed content to wait, perhaps expecting us to disperse, perhaps waiting for their cavalry to finish coming ashore and organizing. We could not attack across open ground against their numbers and their arrows. So we waited in the late summer heat, sleeping in armor, eating cold rations, watching their camp at night like a field of stars fallen to earth. I stood in the middle ranks of my tribe's phalanx, shield on my left arm, spear in my right hand, feeling the weight of bronze and wood and my own exhaustion settling into my bones. Around me were men I had known all my life. Theron the potter, Kleitos who ran the gymnasium, young Philippos who had just come of age to join the citizen levy. We did not speak much. What was there to say? Either we would win an impossible victory, or we would die here on this beach where my grandfather had once grazed his sheep in more peaceful days. On the 6th day, everything changed. I woke before dawn to the sound of urgent voices, strategoi conferring in heated whispers. Word passed through the ranks. Persian cavalry had been seen embarking back onto ships during the night. Not all of them, but enough to notice. Where were they going? The answer seemed clear to Miltiades, and his reasoning spread through our lines like fire through dry grass. The Persians were preparing to split their force. The cavalry would sail around Cape Sunion to attack Athens directly, while we were pinned here at Marathon, watching their infantry. It was clever, the kind of stratagem that had conquered half the known world. But it gave us an opening. Without their cavalry, without those mounted archers who could shower death from a distance and wheel away before we could close, the Persian infantry was vulnerable to our heavy phalanx charge. Miltiades called the war council, and the vote was taken. We would attack today, this morning, before the Persians could finish their redeployment. It was madness, charging across open ground against superior numbers. But it was also our only chance. The Polemarch Callimachus cast his vote for battle, and the decision was made. The sun rose blood-red through morning haze as we formed our lines. The Athenian tribes spread across the plain, each phalanx in its assigned position, tribal pride ensuring that no man would shame his clan by breaking. The Plataeans took the left wing, brave fools who had marched to help us knowing they might die far from their own land. Miltiades himself would command the right wing, where the fighting would be fiercest. I stood in the center, in the middle ranks where the less experienced hoplites were placed, surrounded by my neighbors and friends, all of us trying to control the fear that threatened to unmake our formation before the battle even began. The weight of my shield dragged at my left arm. The horsehair plume of my helmet stirred in the morning breeze. Sweat already ran down my back beneath the bronze cuirass that felt like it was crushing my ribs. My legs, which had carried me 500 kilometers in 4 days just a week ago, trembled with fatigue and tension. Across the plain, perhaps 200 meters distant, the Persian infantry was forming their own line, matching our frontage. So many of them. They moved like a vast carpet of color spreading across the sand and scrubland, their wicker shields painted in reds and yellows and blues, their tunics dyed in hues we Athenians considered frivolous. But there was nothing frivolous about their discipline, the way their officers shouted orders in that strange tongue and thousands moved as one. I could see their archers in the front ranks, bows already strung, quivers full of arrows that would darken the sky when they began to shoot. Behind them, spearmen with lighter armor than ours, but far more numerous. On their wings, their best troops, the Immortals perhaps, or the Median Guard. This was the army that had crushed the Ionian revolt, that had swept through Thrace and across the islands. This was the instrument of the great king's will, come to punish Athens for our pride, for daring to burn Sardis, for refusing to submit to Persian overlordship. They would kill us all. The certainty sat in my gut like a stone. We were going to die on this beach. The trumpet sounded, a single clear note that cut through the morning air, followed by Miltiades' voice roaring the command to advance. We began to move, the phalanx lurching forward like some great bronze beast, thousands of men trying to maintain formation over uneven ground. The pace was measured at first, a quick march, shields locked, spears held high. Every man had drilled for this since childhood. The basic movements of the phalanx burned into muscle memory. But we had never done it for real, never advanced toward an enemy that outnumbered us and wanted us dead. The rhythm of our feet, the rattle of bronze on bronze, the heavy breathing of 10,000 frightened men trying to be brave. At 100 meters, the Persian archers began to shoot. The sky darkened just as the veterans had warned it would, thousands of arrows arcing up and then falling toward our formation like deadly rain. Shields up! The command rippled through our ranks, and we raised the great hoplon shields, overlapping them, creating a roof of bronze-faced wood. The arrows hit like hailstones, thudding into shields, clattering off helmets, finding gaps to pierce flesh. I heard men scream, felt the impact as shafts struck my shield, driving it back against my body. One arrow punched through the rim and scored a line across my forearm, bright pain and blood welling hot. Another volley, another. The Persians were shooting as fast as they could draw and loose, thousands of arrows every few heartbeats, and men were falling around me. The formation wavered. This was where we could break, where we could turn and run and let fear scatter us like leaves before wind. But the trumpet sounded again, a different call, and suddenly we were running, not fleeing, charging. Miltiades' masterstroke, the tactic he had planned for this moment. We could not stand in the arrow storm and maintain formation, so we would run through it, close the distance before they could pepper us to death, bring them to close combat where our heavy armor and longer spears gave us advantage. I ran, legs that had already run beyond endurance now pounding across Marathon Plain one more time, shield held before me, spear gripped tight, men all around me screaming war cries to Athena and Ares and our own tribal heroes. The arrows kept falling. Men went down, tripping those behind them, opening gaps in our line, but we kept running and the distance closed. 50 meters, 30, 20. I could see their faces now, the Persian infantry preparing to receive our charge, bracing their lighter shields and shorter spears, their archers dropping their bows and drawing swords, knowing they had no time for another volley. 10 meters. I could smell them, Sweat and strange perfumes and leather could see individual expressions, fear and determination mixed. Then we hit. The impact was like nothing I had imagined. The front rank of our phalanx crashed into their line with a sound like the world breaking. Bronze on wicker, Greek spear points punching through Persian shields and into the flesh behind. I was in the third rank, pushing forward with my shield against the back of the man in front of me, adding my weight to the shoving mass, jabbing my spear over his shoulder at any enemy face or throat that came into reach. The noise was overwhelming. Men screaming in Greek and Persian, the clang of weapons, the crunch of shields splintering, the wet sound of bronze piercing flesh, the grunts and curses and prayers all mixing into a roar that drowned thought. I couldn't see anything but the back of the man in front of me and the narrow slice of battle visible past his shield. A Persian face appeared in that gap, mouth open in a yell I couldn't hear over the din. I thrust my spear at it, felt the point catch on something, jar against bone, pull free, trailing red. The face disappeared. Another took its place. Stab, push, breathe. The phalanx was working like it was supposed to, our weight and armor and discipline driving into their lighter formation. But in the center where I fought, the Persians had numerical advantage, their line deeper than ours, fresh men constantly pushing forward. Miltiades had thinned our center to strengthen the wings, gambling that the flanks would hold and envelop the enemy before the center broke. It was working. I could hear, distantly through the battle roar, the sounds of collapse on both Persian flanks, the Greek wings smashing through inferior troops and beginning to curl inward. But in the center, we were losing. The man in front of me went down, a spear taking him in the throat above his armor. Blood sprayed back across my face, hot and coppery, and suddenly I was in the front rank. No one between me and the Persian line but my shield and spear and whatever courage I could scrape together. A Persian warrior lunged at me, his wicker shield painted with a lion motif, his spear jabbing for my face. I got my hoplon up, felt the impact shiver through my arm, thrust back blindly and missed. He came again, faster than I could track, and his spear point scraped across my helmet with a sound like a shriek. I stumbled backward, the man behind me catching me, shouting something I couldn't understand. And then Kleitos, the gymnasium owner, was beside me, his spear taking the Persian in the chest, punching through wicker and leather and ribs to drop the man in a heap. "Hold!" Kleitos was screaming, though I could barely hear him. "Hold the line!" But we weren't holding. The center was buckling, being pushed back by sheer weight of numbers, Persians pouring forward into the gap we created. I saw young Philippos go down with an arrow through his eye, saw Theron the potter take a spear in the belly and fold over it like a puppet with cut strings. We were breaking. We were going to break, and when we did, the Persians would pour through and slaughter us from behind, roll up both wings and destroy the entire army. I felt the formation starting to dissolve, men taking steps backward instead of holding ground, panic spreading through our ranks like poison. This was where Athens would fall, not under siege, but here in the center of the marathon line, because we couldn't hold against superior numbers. Then the Persians in front of me were looking past me, their eyes widening, and I heard a roar from behind that could only mean one thing. The wings had broken through. The Plataeans on the left and Miltiades' own tribe on the right had smashed the Persian flanks entirely, chased them back to the sea, and now they were wheeling inward, coming to save the center, coming to save us. The Persian line wavered, officers shouting orders, men turning to face the new threat, and in that moment of confusion, Kleitos and I, and what remained of our section, pushed forward with renewed strength, stabbing and bashing, reclaiming the ground we had lost. Suddenly the Persians weren't pushing anymore. They were trying to disengage, trying to fall back in some kind of order toward their ships. But there was no order in defeat. What had been a disciplined infantry formation dissolved into a mob of frightened men scrambling for the beach, for the ships that could carry them away from this disaster. We pursued, our formation dissolving too, but it didn't matter anymore. This was the rout, the moment when victory was seized and an enemy destroyed. I ran across ground, slick with blood, past bodies piled 3 deep, Persian and Greek, mixed together in death. My spear was gone, lost somewhere in the melee. so I drew the short sword from my belt and slashed at anyone in Persian garb who came within reach. My mind was gone, replaced by something animal and vicious, all the fear and exhaustion and pain transmuted into rage and the simple need to kill. The beach was chaos. Persians wading into the surf toward ships that were already pushing off, archers on the decks shooting down at us, Greek hoplites charging into the water after them, dragging men back to butcher on the sand. I saw Callimachus the pole march, our war leader, still fighting, though he bristled with arrows like a porcupine, killing Persians even as he died from his wounds. I saw ships captured, their crews massacred, blood turning the surf pink. The smell was overwhelming, blood and shit and salt water, and the peculiar sweet-sick reek of opened bellies steaming in the sun. We had won. Somehow, impossibly, we had won. The Persians were fleeing, their infantry broken, their cavalry already departed, their grand invasion fleet retreating in disorder. 6,400 Persian dead littering the plain and beach, while we had lost only 192 men. A miracle, the gods' favor, proof that Greek hoplites were worth 10 times their number of Persian infantry. I stood in the surf, water lapping at my greaves, watching the ships pull away, and felt nothing but emptiness. The battle madness was draining away, leaving only pain and exhaustion, and the knowledge that I had killed men today, had felt my sword bite into flesh, had watched the light go out of human eyes. I was covered in blood, not all of it my own. My arms were slashed, my legs were bruised, my lungs burned from exertion, and the acrid smoke that drifted across the battlefield from Persian supply tents we had set ablaze. And then I saw them, the Persian ships, not beaching again, but turning, setting course south along the coast, heading for Cape Sunion, heading for Athens. The cavalry that had departed earlier would already be there or nearly there, and now the remnants of the fleet were going to join them, going to attack our undefended city while the army was stranded here at Marathon, celebrating a victory that meant nothing if Athens fell. I don't remember making the decision. One moment I was standing in the surf, the next I was running, shedding my armor as I went, unbuckling the cuirass and letting it fall, dropping the greaves, keeping only my tunic and my belt and the sandals I quickly strapped to my bleeding feet. Men shouted after me, asking where I was going, but I had no breath to answer. The army would march back, would cover the 40 kilometers, as fast as heavy infantry could move. But the ships could sail faster, could round the cape and be attacking the harbor and walls within hours. Athens needed warning now, needed time to man the defenses, to prepare for the second blow that might yet destroy us despite our triumph here. I was Hemerodromos. I was the runner. And I still had one more run in me, even if it killed me. That was how long ago? Time has become strange, elastic. The sun has moved, but I cannot say how far, cannot focus on its position through the haze that fills my vision. The road stretches ahead, the same road I have run 100 times, carrying messages of peace and trade. But today, it is different. Today, it is endless. Each step harder than the last, each breath a rasping agony that tears at my chest. The armor is gone, but I feel heavier than I ever did under bronze. My body itself the burden I can barely carry. My legs move by habit more than conscious will. The rhythm of the runner so deeply ingrained that they continue even as the muscles tear and the tendons strain past their breaking point. One foot in front of the other. Left, right, left, right. The mantra that has carried me across Greece, that took me to Sparta and back, that drove me through the Persian arrows and the phalanx clash, that keeps me moving now toward Athens, though everything in me screams to stop. The landscape passes in fragments. Olive groves with their twisted ancient trunks, silver-green leaves shimmering in afternoon light, vineyards heavy with grapes ready for harvest, if there is anyone left to harvest them, if Athens survives this day. Small shrines to the gods at crossroads, where I would normally stop to pour a libation, but cannot stop now, can never stop, must keep running. In the distance, the mountains. Somewhere behind me, Marathon Plain, where we left the Persian dead to the crows and the honor of Callimachus to be mourned properly. Somewhere ahead, Athens, her white walls and temples, her Acropolis crowned with sacred buildings, her people going about their daily business with no idea that Persian ships are racing to destroy them. My people, my city, the place I have run for all my life, carrying messages to and from, binding together the threads of commerce and diplomacy that make a city live. I have run for merchants announcing shipments, for priests proclaiming festival dates, for politicians sending secret communications to allies, for ordinary citizens informing distant family of births and deaths. Never have I run like this, with death in my lungs and the fate of everything I love in the balance of my speed. The pain is beyond description now. It started in my legs, the muscles I had already abused beyond reason with the Sparta run and the return and the battle, but it has spread everywhere. My chest feels like it is being crushed by invisible hands, each breath a labor that yields less air than the last. My heart pounds irregularly, skipping beats, racing too fast and then stuttering. I can feel it failing, can sense the moment approaching when it will simply stop. My vision darkens at the edges, tunnel vision that shows me only the road ahead and nothing else. I stumble, catch myself, nearly fall. A rock turned under my foot, or perhaps my legs simply gave out for a moment. I lurch sideways, arms windmilling, and somehow stay upright, somehow keep moving. How much farther? I have run this route so many times I should know every stone, but I cannot focus, cannot remember landmarks or calculate distance. The world has narrowed to the next step, and the one after that, and the impossible task of continuing. I think of Pan, the wild god who appeared to me in the mountain pass. Is he with me now? Is this his panic, the terror that breaks armies and drives men mad, but turned inward, turned against my own body? Or is he helping, lending me some fragment of his wild divine strength to complete this last impossible run? I whispered a prayer to him somewhere back there, words slurred and barely coherent, promising honors and sacrifices if I survive. I will not survive. I know this with cold certainty, but perhaps the god will accept the promise anyway, will grant Athens his protection for the sake of my sacrifice. The Athenians will build him that shrine, will remember the runner who saw him and brought his message. That much will endure, even if I do not. The sun is lower now, definitely lower, the long shadows of late afternoon reaching across the road. How many hours have I been running? 3? 4? I left Marathon with the sun still high, the taste of victory and blood still in my mouth. The main army was beginning to form up for the march back, 10,000 men organizing themselves with the ponderous slowness of any large force. Miltiades saw me go, I think. He called something after me, but I could not stop to answer. He would understand, or he would not. It no longer mattered. Faces swim up from memory, vivid despite the fog that clouds my current vision. Kleitos fighting beside me in the phalanx, his face spattered with blood, his eyes wild with battle fury and fear. Young Philippos going down with the arrow in his eye, his life ended before it had properly begun. Theron the potter folding over the spear in his belly, his hands clutching at the shaft as if he could pull it out and undo his death. The Persian warrior I killed in close combat, the one whose face I saw clearly for just a moment before my sword took him in the throat. Young, no older than Philippos, with a thin beard and dark eyes that held terror and determination. He had a mother somewhere in the vastness of the Persian Empire, a family who would never know what happened to him, who would wait for his return and wait until hope died and grief took its place. I killed him, stabbed him, and moved on to the next enemy, and felt nothing in the moment. But now his face haunts me, accusatory, asking why his life ended on a Greek beach so far from home. We won the battle, but I cannot even feel triumph, only exhaustion and pain, and the hollow knowledge that war is glorious in the poet's songs. But in reality, it is just men killing each other in the mud and the blood and the terror, and the survivors get to carry the faces of the dead forever. Perhaps that is justice. Perhaps we should remember, should carry the weight of what we have done. Perhaps that is the price of victory. Not just the 192 Athenians dead and honored, but the thousands of Persians dead and forgotten, erased from history except as numbers in the tally of defeat. They were men too. They had names, lives, people who loved them. And we killed them because they came to kill us, because their king commanded it, and our survival demanded it, because this is the world we live in, where cities and empires clash and the ground drinks blood. I am rambling. My thoughts scatter like startled birds, impossible to hold on to, consciousness fragmenting as my body fails. Stay focused. Athens, the walls, the people, the warning I must deliver, the Persian ships. Are they there already? Have they attacked? Am I running toward a city already fallen, my desperate sprint meaningless? No, I refuse that thought. Athens stands. Athens must stand. I will reach the city, will shout the warning, will tell them we won at Marathon, but the enemy comes by sea. They will man the walls, will prepare the defenses, will hold until the army returns. They must. The road climbs slightly, a gentle rise I have hardly noticed on previous runs, but which now feels like a mountain. My legs scream protest with every step, muscles tearing, something deep in my thighs giving way with a sensation like ripping cloth. I stumble again, go down on one knee this time, bare skin splitting open on gravel. Blood wells, joins the blood from earlier wounds, the blood I am soaked in from the battle. So much blood today, too much blood. I push myself up, left foot forward, right foot forward. My stride has shortened to little more than a shuffle, speed bleeding away as my body consumes itself to keep moving. But I am moving, still moving, and that is all that matters. In the distance, a shimmer that might be the walls of Athens, or might be heat mirage or hallucination. I cannot tell anymore, cannot trust my eyes or my thoughts, or anything except the ingrained pattern of running that keeps my legs moving even as everything else fails. Memories flood through my fragmenting consciousness. My father teaching me to run, showing me how to pace myself, how to breathe, how to endure when endurance seemed impossible. The body will want to quit, he told me when I was barely old enough to run the full circuit of the city walls. It will tell you that you cannot continue, that you have reached your limit. This is a lie. The body always has more to give. The question is whether you have the will to demand it. I am demanding it now, Father. I am taking everything the body has and more, burning through reserves that should not exist, running on will alone, because the flesh has long since given all it can. Is this what you meant? Is this the lesson you tried to teach? Or did you never imagine anyone would need to push this far, would need to run themselves to death? I wish you were here to see it. I wish you could be proud of your son who took the lessons and carried them to their ultimate conclusion. But you have been dead these 10 years, taken by fever that no amount of running could escape. Mother too. I have no family left but Athens herself, the city that gave me purpose and identity, that made me hemerodromos, that I serve with my final breaths. The shimmer ahead is clearer now, resolving into something more solid. Walls. Definitely walls. The long white limestone barriers that encircle Athens, that protect her from the world, that stand between my people and destruction. How far? A mile? Less? I cannot judge distance anymore, but I can see them, can see the goal, and that vision pulls me forward with renewed urgency. Almost there. Almost done. The message almost delivered. A strange lightness fills me, euphoria cutting through the pain. I am going to make it. Despite everything, despite running 500 kilometers in 4 days and fighting in the phalanx, and now this final sprint from Marathon to Athens, I am going to reach the walls, going to shout the warning, going to save my city. The gods are with me. Pan is with me. My father's spirit runs beside me, invisible but present, lending me strength. I can feel the finish line approaching, that moment when the run ends, and I can finally rest, can let go of the burden and the pain and the terrible responsibility. So close now. The walls grow larger, individual stones becoming visible, and I can see the gates, the great wooden doors standing open for traffic in and out of the city, merchants and farmers and citizens going about their daily business in the late afternoon sun. I try to shout, to call out that I am coming, that I bring news, but my throat produces only a rasping croak, inaudible even to my own ears. No matter. I will reach them. I will get close enough that they can see me, that they will recognize the hemerodromos and know I carry urgent word. My vision is darkening further, black spots swimming across the scene, but I keep my eyes fixed on those gates, on the guards I can dimly see standing watch. 100 paces, 75, 50. People are noticing me now, turning to stare at the blood-covered figure lurching toward the city gates. I must look like something from a nightmare, like one of the war dead risen to haunt the living. Good. Let them stare. Let them call the archons and the strategoi. Let them gather to hear what I have to say. 25 paces. The guards are stepping forward, hands on their spears, uncertain whether I am friend or threat. I try to raise a hand in greeting, in the runner's signal that means urgent message, but my arm will not obey, hangs limp at my side. 15 paces. My legs are folding under me, the final reserves exhausted, everything giving way at once. I pitch forward, feel the impact as I hit the ground before the gates, dust puffing up around me, gravel biting into my palms and knees and face. Hands are lifting me, voices shouting questions, but I cannot make out the words through the roaring in my ears. I force my mouth to work, force out the words I have carried from Marathon, the message that Athens must hear. Nενικήκαμεν, we have won. The battle, we won the battle, but also the Persians come, by sea, prepare, defend. I try to say more, try to warn them about the ships, but my tongue is thick in my mouth, my jaw slack, and the darkness is closing in completely now, no longer just at the edges, but consuming everything, swallowing the world and the walls and the concerned faces bending over me. I am dying. The certainty is no longer frightening, but almost peaceful, a relief from the pain that has racked me for the last however many hours. I have done what I needed to do. The message is delivered. Athens knows we won, knows the Persians are coming. They will man the walls, will prepare, and when the fleet arrives they will find not an undefended city, but Greeks ready to fight again, to preserve the victory we bought with blood on Marathon Plain. The army will return, will march through the night if they must, and Athens will stand. We will stand. We defeated the first invasion. We will defeat this one too. And someday, the Persians will come again. I know this somehow, know that this is not the end, but only the beginning, that the great king will not accept defeat, that the war between Greece and Persia has only just begun. But that is for others to worry about, for men who will survive this day to face the next invasion. I have run my last race. The darkness is complete now, warm and soft, and I feel myself slipping away into it, consciousness fragmenting into disconnected images and sensations. Pan in the mountain pass, his wild eyes an impossible presence. The arrow storm over Marathon, bronze shields raised against the sky gone dark. Kleitos grinning despite his fear, young Philippos who will never grow old. The Persian boy I killed, his face forever accusing. My father showing me the runner's form, patient and proud. Athens rising white above her olive groves, the Acropolis crowned with temples to the gods who have brought us through this day. I wanted to live. Despite everything, despite knowing this run would kill me, I wanted to survive it, wanted to see Athens safe and grow old and run again on some peaceful day, carrying messages of marriages and births instead of war and death. But we do not always get what we want. We get what we earn, what we sacrifice for, what we give everything to achieve. I have given everything. My legs that carried me across Greece, my heart that beat beyond its limits, my body that I pushed past endurance and into destruction. I have given it all for Athens, and I do not regret it. This is what it means to be hemerodromos. This is what my father taught me. This is the purpose for which I was born and trained. To run when running matters most. To deliver the message even if it costs everything. To serve the city that gave me life by giving that life back in her moment of need. The voices around me are fading, the hands that caught me loosening their grip. I am falling, but it does not feel like falling. Feels more like floating, like the release after a race run when you can finally let go of effort and strain and just be at peace. I see my father waiting, his hand extended, proud smile on his weathered face. I see the heroes of Marathon, Callimachus and the others who died in the phalanx, welcoming me to their number. I am Hemerodromos. I am the runner who ran from Marathon to Athens, who carried the victory to the city, who gave his life for the message. They will remember. They will tell the story. They will speak my name, Pheidippides, the runner, and it will echo down the ages, will inspire others to their own acts of sacrifice and courage, will become legend and myth and something greater than the man I was. This is enough. This is more than enough. This is everything. I close my eyes, and the darkness is not dark anymore, but light, brilliant and golden, and I run toward it one last time, my legs strong again, my breath easy, my body whole and unhurt. I run like I did as a boy, like I did before the weight of duty and war and death settled on my shoulders. I run for the pure joy of running, for the beauty of motion and the gift of speed. I run toward the light, and my father runs beside me, and Athens is safe behind us, and Marathon is won, and everything I have done, everything I have suffered and sacrificed, has meaning and purpose and value. The message is delivered, the city stands, Greece endures, and I, Pheidippides, Hemerodromos of Athens, can finally rest. My name will endure long after the flesh that bore it has returned to dust, long after the Marathon dead have been forgotten, and the Persian Empire has crumbled, and Athens herself has risen and fallen and risen again in the endless cycles of history. They will run in my memory, thousands of years from now, in lands I cannot imagine, running the distance I ran on this day, and my name will be on their lips, though they may not know the full truth of it, may not know about Sparta, or the battle, or the desperate final sprint. That is all right. The essential truth will survive, that a runner once gave everything to deliver a message, that duty and sacrifice and service can be worth the ultimate price, that even in death, there is victory. I am Pheidippides. I am the runner, and I have done what I was born to do. The light surrounds me completely now, and I surrender to it. Let it take me wherever runners go when their race is finally finished, when the road ends, and the message is delivered, and there is nothing left to do but let go. My last thought, as consciousness finally fails, and my tortured heart beats its final time, is not of pain, or regret, or fear, but of simple gratitude. Gratitude for strong legs and a stout heart. Gratitude for Athens, beautiful and flawed and worth dying for. Gratitude for the chance to matter, to make a difference, to be more than just another man living and dying in obscurity. I ran. I fought. I delivered the message. And now, at last, I rest. Athens stands. Greece endures. And somewhere, distant and faint, but still clear, I hear the sound of the trumpet calling the victory, the voices raised in celebration, the footsteps of the army marching home from Marathon, marching toward a future I will not see but helped secure. It is enough. It is more than enough. It is everything. Nενικήκαμεν. We have won. The fire burns low. The voice falls silent. Rest now. The history remains.